So here's an interesting one for you. A question that many of you probably never thought would even come up in a video or would be something that you may experience on your journey is that there are many of us out there who have lived unhappy lives, have been in very unhappy cycles, and there are those who are out there still in those cycles. There are those who are watching this video probably wondering, how do I, you know, come into my authentic self and learn to be happy? And one of the things that I knew for years is I couldn't smile. I couldn't smile, not even this. And that's not even really a smile. Like most people are like, show your teeth, like that. So I had trouble smiling, and now I smile all the time, especially on the videos, when I'm with people, when I'm, throughout the day. But I couldn't smile for years. I couldn't smile until I was 36, I think, 36. It was when I left my ex, and it was one of those things where for years I knew I couldn't. I would tell people, they'd be like, smile. I'm like, I can't. It would physically hurt for me to smile. Now, a lot of people may not understand that, but when I would try to smile, even just a little bit, like forcing it, like that, like it would physically hurt my face, my jaw, because the muscles being used were not used before. And energetically, it was not the state that I was in. It's also energy. There's energy around smiling and not smiling, and being in a state that you can smile, that you can express yourself in that way naturally and truthfully. And part of it was that, is that I could not smile because I was not in my truth. And so I worked for years. I would occasionally, when I was in my old relationship, I'd be driving my car and I would try to force myself. I'd look in the mirror and try to force myself to smile. It just wouldn't work. And then galactics and extraterrestrials and Sasquatches and faeries and all these beings started working with me more. Now, I had been working with many of them for years, just not to the depths that I do now in my authenticity. It was a big thing that I didn't fully embrace it. I hid it. I tried to keep it at an arm's length. Like I would, when I was on my own in the woods, I was open and fine, but around people, I just didn't embrace it. I wasn't myself, wasn't authentic. I tried to fit into my spaces and all of that. And so I worked with those beings, and specifically my galactic friends, who came down and started working with me, saying, hey, we want you to work on these books for us. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that. No way in hell I'm not doing that. And I was getting those messages for years. And I started to write fiction books in 2018. I wrote my first book, fantasy book, or technically urban fantasy. It's about a unicorn covered in fire going around killing people. And it's one of these things where I started that and I started growing into my authenticity. I started healing because I was using my writing and creativity to express things from my past, my traumas, to heal, to immerse myself in another world, to give myself an outlet, all these things. A beautiful experience. And it was guided through spirit, through the guides, all of that, to do this work. And then they came down and said, now we want you to write these books for us. And I was like, oh, I gave them pushback, finally said okay, and started collecting content for a year or two before I did that. And during that time, they kept saying, we want you to be honest with yourself. And I'm like, what are you talking about, honest with yourself? I don't understand. And because I was a very honest person, people would say that I was too honest. And it's one of those things, like my ex even used to say, like, if you ask him a question, he's going to tell you the truth, and there's a chance you're not going to like it. And I would say that too, like, don't ask me a question you don't want the answer to, because I'll just tell you. It's like, I don't care if it's going to hurt your feelings. Like, I care if it's going to hurt your feelings in in a sense. Like, I shouldn't say I don't care. Like, I would care, like, how somebody would react to it and be like, this is going to hurt their feelings if I tell them, but I would tell the truth no matter what. Which people, often didn't like when they asked me questions, or would create situations where I'd get shut down or yelled at or these other things for telling the truth, because they didn't like that I told the truth. I wasn't somebody who just told them what they wanted to hear. And so I'm in these spaces of unhappiness and toxicity with friends and family and the relationship I was in and work and all this stuff. And I start healing and doing my creativity and becoming authentic. And then my guys are like, be honest with yourself. And I took a while to understand what they meant. And what they meant was, what they were saying is, you need to be honest, not honest with yourself. They would come down and they would say, you need to be honest if you want to continue, if you want to do this work and have this beauty. And I'm like, okay. And it took me a while to understand that what they're trying to allow me to figure out without telling me was, you need to be honest with yourself. And it took time for me to figure that out. What that meant was sitting down and really going, I'm not happy with my relationship. I'm not happy with my friends. I'm not happy with my career, which the career one I already knew. I had been trying to get out of it for years in various ways, attempted to multiple times, and pushed back because of, the pandemic or other things that occurred. And so I had to sit down and be true about what is like not authentic to me and not aligned, and realize like all this stuff wasn't aligned to me. Realizing that the friendships I was putting effort into, when I just put the phone down and stopped texting them, I never heard anything again. Those types of friendships that you walk away from just reaching out to them and realize they never reach out to you again, which means the friendship wasn't even real, because nobody cares to say, hey, where'd you go? What happened? You were the only one doing the effort, putting the effort in. When you walk away from a toxic relationship, realizing that you're unhappy with that, walking away from that, taking the risk, especially one that's a long-term relationship. I was in an 11-year relationship. When you start shifting your career, realizing you're not happy there, and start taking the risks and shifting your career, doing the simpler things, shifting your diet, all these things that you feel you want to do, but you can't embrace because of other situations. And actually leaving my toxic relationship was the biggest step I could have taken, because once I did that, I was able to embrace all the things I wanted to do for years that were in states of sabotage and energetically couldn't come into place, and all these things that we have to remove the lower vibrational, darker energies from our lives when we're trying to shift to higher vibrations, because they just hold us back, and they don't allow room for other things to happen. And they also, anything we want to align to that for our happiness and authentic self, they'll pull and tug us away from that, because that makes us happy. Now, what does this have to do with smiling? I didn't smile until I was 36. I had that, I've talked about before in other videos about my traumatic childhood, about friends, about the relationship, about all this other stuff. You can find that all in other videos, other places. And it's one of those things that for years I just thought I couldn't smile. I thought I knew happiness. I thought I knew joy. And I just thought it was like a body function that I could not smile, because we know the happiness and joy that we've experienced in different moments, and we go, oh, okay, but we experience in moments of being in lower vibrational places, around lower vibrational people, around these, unaligned experiences that are inauthentic to ourselves. Pull yourself away from them. My guides, especially the galactics, were some of the biggest ones, and I'm not pointing them out to be like they were the only ones. I mean, fairies helped me a ton, angels, all the other beings did, but a lot of the galactics I was specifically working with and were guiding me, you realize what you're unhappy with, act on it, leave the situation, fix it, change it. Get out of it. Leave the situation with your relationship. Go to your career and go, okay, what do you want to do? We're asking you to write books. Start writing the books. We will help you if you write these books about your experiences to help others that we know. We will help you with this. When it came to diet, they would come down and be like, okay, now you need to stop eating this, stop eating that. Gaia came to me once and asked me, okay, you've done all this. I want you to cut out cheese and dairy, which cheese is dairy, but cut out dairy type of thing. Cheese is kind of separate little group that I haven't been able to enjoy in a very, very long time. But as we all know, it is a separate group. It is not dairy, even though it is. It's separate. It's special. But it's one of those things that I had to cut out completely. And I followed all those steps. And what happened is I embraced my authenticity and I began to smile. I began to smile wide. I began to smile large and big. Surprisingly, when I was clear of the negativity back when I was in those cycles of toxicity, it only took me about 3 months to smile. 2 to 3 months. It didn't take long. It was very shocking to me to go to conventions and for people to comment on how beautiful my smile was. How, like, actually, and to this day, people still comment on my smile. It's a surprising thing because I just think it's like, it's a smile. It is what it is. It's nothing special. But breaking free of everything, getting rid of all that, I was finally in a space where I could find happiness, true happiness and joy. I had never experienced it before. I had never experienced love before. It took me about a year or two more to experience love, like true, actual love from another person and in myself and with not, and I don't want people to think this is sexual love. It's like true love in a sense of I love myself in my energy. I'm in a love frequency and another person is experiencing that too. And we love each other in that way, that frequency way, not like a physical sexual way, but a frequency, true love experience. I had never experienced that. I loved my ex, but I did not understand that love was a contractual form of love. It's lower chakra stuff, as one of my friends calls it. She's like, it's lower chakra stuff that we confuse as love. But this was like, wow, this was so much different. And what I'm saying is, galactics can help you with this. Your divine counsel can help you with this. Your team, the guidance they can give you can help you with this. Breaking free of all these negative patterns that if you're one of these people who does not smile and does not actually know the joy frequency, the love frequency, a lot of it is just getting away from all that. I got away from it, and within 2-3 months, I was smiling big and wide, and people that had known me were like, oh my God, you have a beautiful smile. They'd never commented on that before, and I'd known them for years. And I give credit to the beings that I worked with because they're the ones who guided me to leave these spaces and guided me on how to shift. And then once I got into a space where I could smile, my smile got bigger, it got more frequent, and here's the key. It was less painful. It's not painful anymore to smile. It's one of these things where it's natural, and then you see yourself and you're like, wait, man, I never smiled before. Videos, pictures, anything. And then it becomes one of these things where the shape of your face changes and your happiness just goes through the roof. I'm way over time on this video, but I've never done one quite like this. And it's just one of those things that if you're in a toxic space, if you're in low vibrational spaces and you feel like you look in the mirror or you never get compliments about smiling or anything like that, a lot of it comes from getting yourself into a space where you can be authentic and true to you. Does not matter how truthful you are to others or anything like that. It's getting yourself into a space where you're away completely from unaligned experiences, and that's the key, unaligned experiences, so that you can attract and build on your aligned experiences, your authentic self, and then the smile comes with it, the joy comes with it, the love comes with it, and the love that most of you have watching this have probably never experienced before. It was something I was shocked. I was like, this is something I've never experienced. Like, it's a beautiful thing to be in that frequency with someone else, and feel that love from them and that love of yourself, and all of that. And that all comes from learning to be authentic, which teaches you to love yourself and heal yourself, and then aligns you to people who can also love you back in an unconditional and true way too. So, but the point is, it all came down to my galactics and those beings coming to me and saying, we want to help you. We need to get you out of this situation. We need to break you free. We need to break your chains, as I say in my book, Unleash the Spirit. Break your chains, so that you can be free to just grow and bloom, and blossom, and that sort of thing. Let me know if you have any comments, questions. Thank you for watching this far. Grateful for each and every one of you. If you're interested in spirit art readings or divine counsel transmissions, visit my website, awakenwithwillow.com. Love you all.